Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that came out on CNN November 12th, 2018. U.S. has the highest rate of drug overdoses, study says. The United States has more than double the rate of premature overdose deaths of that at least 12 other countries, according to a new study. The research published Monday in the Annals of Internal Medicine says there were an estimated 63,632 drug overdose deaths in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, that's based on 22 states. So just know any numbers that they publish will always be an undercount. The U.S. has the highest death rate due to drug overdoses for both men and women, 35 deaths in 100,000 men and 20 deaths in 100,000 women in 2015. More than double those of any other country in our study. Okay, so this study is showing different countries and their death rates in drugs. Mexico had the lowest rate, 1 death per 100,000 and 0.2 deaths per 100,000 for women. And just imagine that all of the drug trafficking comes out of that country, and Mexico has a lower death rate for drugs than the United States. Go figure, right? The researchers also found that the United States had the second highest increase in drug overdose deaths, 4.3% per year in men and 5.3% per year in women, Chen said. Only Estonia had the higher increase. Norway was found to have the biggest decrease in drug overdose mortality for the whole population. Decreases were also found among men and women in Mexico, Spanish men, and Danish women. Researchers looked at the trend and pattern of drug overdose deaths among age 20 to 64 years in 13 countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development between 2001 and 2015, Chen said. These countries were Australia, Chile, Denmark, England, Wales, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Mexico, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and the United States. I think it reinforces what we know about the United States, but it also points out some of the contrasts in terms of the ways other countries have dealt with similar issues. Okay, said Caleb Banta Green, principal research scientist at the University of Washington Alcohol and Drug Abuse Institute, who was not involved in the research. All right, so you can see, wow, look at the U.S. compared to everybody else. Woo, y'all know y'all some drug addicts for real. Overdose deaths around the world. Data from 2015 shows the United States far outpace other countries in drug overdose deaths, according to the World Health Organization. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. The United States is nothing but a country full of junkies. Look at this. I mean, they tower over everybody else. Seriously. Oh my God. Y'all are some serious junkies, man. Banta Green and the researchers both point out that opioids play a part in the high level of drug overdose deaths in the U.S. No, you know what plays a role? These drugs and these drug users are lawless. There is no strong laws or any law enforcement against this stuff. You know what they do? They make these DEA drug busts here and there just to make it look like they're doing something. But you notice the DEA has been around for 50 years. And in 50 years, they have not done a damn thing significant enough to stop all of the drug trafficking coming into the country. Really, the organization is a waste of time. If you're going to have this amount of drug use in your country in comparison to the rest of the world, then what is the point of the DEA in the first place? See, when it came down to the crack epidemic, they wanted to follow every letter to criminal laws against the Black community. But now that their own people are succumbing to drug addiction, now it's time to back off and just let them do whatever. They got amnesty in place for the drug user. They got amnesty in place for anyone that calls 911. If they find someone overdosing, that when the police arrive, they don't arrest nobody. They got all of that stuff in place. And because they are coddling these people and not really coming down on them, this is why the US looks like this in comparison to other countries. Again, you know, these folks may be in charge, they may be running things, but their policies are always destructive. They have an inability to see the policies that they have in place are destructive. And it does not help the people at all. And ladies and gentlemen, it is no point trying to explain it to them. They don't want to hear nothing. So let them fall. Let them fall. I mean, look, it's not our fault that they're falling and succumbing to this stuff. It's their fault. It's their policies, and it's the way they're running the whole thing. It's the downfall of their people. So let it happen. I mean, they don't care. What the hell do I need to care for? Moving on. Banta Green and the researchers both point out that opioids play a part in the high levels of drug overdose deaths in the United States. The drug describes U.S. opioid deaths as triple epidemic waves. Wow, triple epidemic waves. I never heard that term before. Starting with prescription opioid deaths in the late 1990s, heroin deaths beginning in 2010, and finally, deaths due to synthetic opioids, which includes fentanyl. Yes, you know what it is, ladies and gentlemen. The drug epidemic has been going on actually for centuries in this country. The only thing that has happened is the drug changes, but the deaths from the drugs continue to go up. As they switch off to different drugs, the death rate also continues to increase. It has never decreased at all. And it won't. It won't. Especially you're talking about enabling drug users, because you now declare that a public health policy and they don't go to jail. So because of these coddling policies, you can best believe their deaths are going to continue to go through the roof. Other countries have found solutions to high rates of opioid-related deaths, including to Banta Green, who cited France, which was not included in the research. When France got rid of the restrictions on prescribers using medication. Okay, so what they did was, in order for France to kill their prescription drug addiction, they got rid of the drug. That's how they handled it. They got rid of the drug. And when they got rid of the drug, the mortality rate dropped. That's how they handled it. Okay. So that's one method that worked for them. Now, Russia has a whole different method for their opioid addictions. You know, when they sort of force them into rehab. And what they do is during withdrawal, they don't give them nothing but aspirin. They don't care how much pain they're in. But they use a more of a cold turkey kind of solution for their drug addicts. But the US is spending a fortune on a drug addiction that is not going anywhere. Since this all began in the 90s, all the way up until now, they have spent over $1 trillion on a drug addiction that is still going strong. Spent $1 trillion, y'all, and it didn't put a dent in the overdose deaths. But these folks want us to believe that they are the best ones to run things. I don't know. I guess that high IQ must just blind everything. It blurs and blinds everything, right? Banta Green believes that creating better access to substance abuse disorder treatments, along with a better national understanding that these are treatable medical conditions, would help reduce the number of overdose-related deaths in the U.S. This includes giving more people access to medications that would help treat and manage opiate addiction. In other words, treat a drug addiction with a drug. That's pretty much what he's saying. If you want to get rid of drug addiction, you treat the addiction with another drug, methadone. So you just switch one drug out for another. Again, they're enabling the situation, but they're claiming this is a solution. That's really fundamentally what I think we need to take away from these data findings, is that there are solutions. Other countries have them, and we are not doing the dramatic things that we need to be doing, he said. Ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing America's fall through their drug addiction. It's just one of the things that is their downfall, along with low birth rate and jobs going unfilled because there's not enough people to fill the spots of the baby boomers that are retiring. But this, ladies and gentlemen, this addiction is America's biggest downfall. It is. You know, I did a story over a year ago on how they are now trying to put these drug addicts on disability, SSI. And you know what? They're going to just take that disability money, ladies and gentlemen, and spend the whole thing on drugs. But that's one of the solutions they came up with, is put the drug addict on disability. That's why I'm saying they're enabling this whole thing. And, you know, for too long, these folks have faked us out into believing they are the best ones to run everything, to lead everything, to be the ones in the world that everybody looks to. But when you see how they're handling this drug addiction, you can see these people don't know how to run shit. They don't. They don't. It is a mind game, y'all. It is a mind game and a bunch of trickeries that have been played. We have all been played in this system. We have. When you see stuff like this along with other things, you realize these folks, they haven't learned how to run nothing for hundreds of years. They haven't. They haven't learned how to run a damn thing for hundreds of years and still fumbling. all these centuries later and still fumbling all around this society with their policies. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I will see you on the next video. And the next time they tell you they know how to run this better than you, you just point to all these body bags, okay? You need to say nothing else. Peace, family.